Baker, we're just talking to David Njoku, who's talked about just being in a better mindset this year. And do you see that translating out to the field? Is he playing at a level that you guys would hope?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can limit distractions off the field, I mean, that goes for anybody. If you take care of your business outside of the field, then you're able to come in this building and, handle and do your job. But, yeah, David's playing with the mentality that he's trying to help our team out, and that's what we want with everybody.
How have you seen him elevate his game? I know he went to the tight end camp they had. You spent some time with him in the offseason, but just you're in the room with him, as they say, and on the field with him. Just where have you seen him really elevate his game this offseason?
I mean, he's put on some really good weight. I mean, he's a large individual to begin with, but that comes with a unique skill set to where he's able to run. And the thing we've told David is, if he sprints and runs, people are going to be scared, for the vertical routes that he can, bring to the table. So we're working with him on that, and he has the natural ability to high point the ball, and so we're working on that as well, and continue to expand and grow in that.
How much does that help you to have a guy like David? I think Donovan made a catch kind of vertical yesterday, when you can kind of, you can throw the ball up and they're going to go get it for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes me feel very comfortable with the one-on-ones, and, if the ball is those 50-50 type balls, that it's either theirs or nobody's catching it. So it's an easing mindset, when they're able to make plays like that.
What's your relationship like with Saquon? And saw you guys embracing each other yesterday.
Saquon's like my little brother. Treat him like my son. Pat him on the head and tell him good job. No, he's a great guy. We spent time together training before the draft and just stayed in contact. Just a good guy that's extremely competitive. And so we're always talking trash back and forth to each other. We made that Rookie of the Year bet, and he has that necklace. So he's got the notch over me right now.
Talk about going back and forth and trash talking. What was it like with Jabril yesterday?
Jabril and I have been going back and forth since 2016 when I first met him. So he's just one of those guys. He's a high energy guy. You love competing against people like that. You're always going to hear where he's at, but you got to let him know likewise. So it's fun to compete against somebody that you've had personal relationship with.
Off that practice, Baker, you've played in the preseason, joint practice yesterday. How comparable are they as far as getting work done?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good when we're able to do like a 2-minute situation like we did yesterday and some third down emphasis. Other than that, it's more so about doing our job, running through our plays against different looks that we're seeing. You try and make these practices as game-like as possible just for those, certain situations. But, it's vital for us and our growth in this offense and defense as well.
The coach is trying to limit exposure to starters in the preseason, not just Kevin, but just around the league in general. Do you think that there could be a situation, just from a player's perspective, where joint practices could ultimately, in some way, replace some of the preseason work because you're actually getting work in those joint practices, where a preseason game you're stuck with the mental reps?
I feel like that's a J.C. Treader question, so I'll let him handle that one.
Sorry.
Do you think that, would you like to play in just even a series or two in one of these last 2 preseason games?
If I'm lucky. Coach said if I start a fight at practice, I have to play, so me and Saquon might swing today.
No, but I mean, do you think you obviously had no preseason games last year and you were fine. So do you think would you like to, or does it really not?
I mean, I would any game reps, any reps, I always embrace and go full effort. So whatever happens for me. I'm just handling every rep and like I should.
Hey, Baker, what went well yesterday offensively, and what needs to get cleaned up today?
Took care of the ball. And we established a line of scrimmage, and so we were physical. We won our one-on-one matchups, and so today it's about coming in and cleaning up those mental errors and being just as physical as we were. We kind of got after them a little bit, so we're going to expect them to come out a little bit pissed off, and that's how it should be. We have to challenge each other. That's why we do these joint practices to get better.
Hey Baker, a little bit different way to ask, but with the work you guys are getting done in training camp, do you think you can be fully ready for the Chiefs, even if you guys don't, as starters, get in the preseason games?
Yeah, I mean, our job is to be ready physically, mentally, and just ready to roll as soon as the season comes around. I mean, you're supposed to be ready when you come back to camp physically and, work through all the little, iron out all the little details. And right now we're on pace to do that.
So now that you got all these practices under your belt, with more to go, obviously, but what are the real differences that you're seeing yourself benefit from continuity?
Just going through these reads, it being, just second nature to go through and not try and force the ball, just check it down, get it in their hands, and move through. Find a positive play and move the chains.
Baker, with Odell not full go yet, how do you and he work together to make sure that when he is back that you guys are full go and take off?
I mean, we get routes on air, and during the special teams breaks, we're getting reps pretty much every day that he's running. We're trying to save his legs for the real thing, but we're getting plenty of reps right now.
Baker, you spoke about being in year 2 with Stefanski. I've seen you just even after reps talking with like Hooper, saying, "Hey, try it this way," or "Remember when we did it in the game." How nice is that to have things to go off of with all these guys that are returning in a system that you know?
I mean, that makes life a whole lot easier right now. We're trying things that are pretty challenging, offensively, of how we want to run routes, certain looks, and formationally how we're setting things up. So we're trying to challenge ourselves each practice, and so our guys are handling it correctly, and we're just getting better.
I know you're out here working every day. If you don't play, if the offense doesn't play in the preseason, starting offense, is there anything extra you feel like you or the offense would have to do to feel completely comfortable going into week 1?
No, I think right now we're overemphasizing communication on certain looks and adapting on the fly. And like I said, taking care of the ball and no pre-snap penalties, and that's the biggest thing going in, knocking the rust off the early weeks of the regular season is don't beat yourself, and that's the important part, and we're focusing on that right now.
Baker, you talked about if you sell things off the field, things will work out better here. So I'm going to ask, how has being married changed you as far as maturity or whatever?
I mean, I think anytime you have a strong support system and you're able to go home and find that comfortability, I'm the type that once you step out of this building, you have to turn it off, and I'm very lucky and blessed to be surrounded with that, and it's just like I said earlier, you limit distractions on the outside, you're able to focus and have a clear mind and thinking process.
Baker, any kind of lingering awkwardness with Daniel Jones from a couple of years ago, or do you guys have a good relationship now?
We're good. We're great. It came down to Austin when Colt was with the Giants 2 years ago. We all hung out. No, we're good. We talked through that.
I think
Preseason too long. Do you need 6 weeks to get ready?
J.C. Treader question.
I think Jarvis takes every rep in practice seriously, but then we saw him have a good day yesterday. Do these competitive situations even bring out more in him?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're competing against a different team, there's certain things within our practices when we're just going against each other of, you guys are really taking care of you, you're not going all the way down, you're not, putting your hands in certain spots, you're taking care of each other. But against a different team, you're competing at that very high level. You're trying to win those matchups and just get used to that full tempo and full intensity. So, yeah, Jarvis is always a guy that cranks it up when it comes to the game reps.
Do you think the timing is there of the passing game, or do you have a ways to go?
I mean, we're continuing to grow. We're not satisfied by any means. There's definitely little nuances that we're continuing to try and work on, but that's what we're stressing and continuing to build.
Kevin Stefanski talked to us right after the season ended about evolving. Do you think the offense will have a new identity this year?
I think, similar to how we were growing in it last year, of how our team's going to play us, and that's how you evolve. You exploit weaknesses, and however they want to defend you, you have to find the answer to it, and that's the part about having continuity and having smart players that we do on offense to be able to adjust and adapt in games and handle that.
We talked to Jed yesterday, and he said he feels he's playing so much better than a year ago. But how impressed were you that he could handle that switch from the right side to the left side last year, and then do you see a big jump this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's second nature for him to go from or to be doing all those right tackle reps and have to switch. It's tough on him, and he was able to handle that very well. And hats off to him for doing that. Coach Callahan, I know, worked a ton of reps with him during training camp last year to do that, and he's continuing to be more and more comfortable. And that's not just with the stance and having the switch the footwork, but all the terms and just all the experience and reps that he's had and being seen with the stunts and the different movements they bring to him.
When Pepper says you can't see over the line, you have a good comeback now?
I mean, if I can't see over the line, I know he can't see me. So, a little pep.
What's jumped out at you about Demetric Felton? I don't think we asked you that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that he's got a lot on his plate right now. We've asked him to do a lot, learn receiver and running back. So it's not something rookies normally are able to handle, and so I think it was moving kind of fast for him. But he's a gamer. I think we were able to see in the Jacksonville game when he gets the ball in his hands, he can do some stuff with it. And this week we're repping him at running back, and he's a versatile guy. So we're happy with where he's at and continuing to, be a key part of this offense.
Baker, you've done a lot in your career with doubters and then disproving them, right, at all different levels. As a quarterback in the offseason, when there's a lot of pressure on you to prove doubters wrong, mentally, how did you approach that? How have you approached that through your career to make sure you do disprove them?
I mean, I don't care what the doubters say. You have to have self-confidence. You have to trust the people in your corner. And it goes along with setting expectations. You set your own. You lived up to that standard, and you have to hold yourself accountable to that every day. And that's the key to it. You get caught up on the outside. If I was listening to the BS, then I'd probably be done and not playing. So just focus on me and getting better every day.
You hear it, though, right? I mean, doesn't it fuel you to some extent or no?
I mean, at a certain point, yeah. I mean, you hear it because you got plenty of TVs. But if you're paying attention to it that much, then you're not doing your job.
Did it used to fuel you more than it does now? Is that kind of way?
I feel like you wrote a story about that once upon a time, Jake. So you might know the answer to that. But no, it's a part of the process of focusing on the wrong stuff too much, and so able to internalize that and realize that I have to have an edge every single day to be the best version of me for these guys and to be a leader of this franchise. But at the same time, do my job first.
Tom Brady still has a chip on his shoulder, and he's got 7 Super Bowl rings. Have you talked to him about how he is able to, despite his success and his Hall of Fame credentials that he has, how he maintains that same level year after year after year?
That hadn't been something I've specifically asked him, but you can tell he's never satisfied. It's always the most important one is the next one. That same play or the next play mentality, and I mean he's had quotes of it. The best ring is always the next one, and he obviously means that because he continues to chase those, and that speaks a lot about who he is.
Any thoughts on Oklahoma leaving for the SEC?
Still gonna have to beat Texas every year.